Hello, hello. I can't hear you. I can see your nice little frame you got there. And you're also frozen now. Hello. Hello. Hey, I can see you. I can't hear you though. Okay. Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, but the audio quality is really bad.
Wait, it's because my headset is not plugged properly.
Now I can't hear anything. Okay,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you better now. Okay.
Okay, that's much better, much, much better.
Um, yeah, I'm having some issues with Zoom. Like the app is not starting. I don't know why. So I'm with my browser now. That's why maybe that's the issue.
Well, it works, so whatever works.
Yeah, now it's okay. Yeah.
Cool, so how's your day so
Cool.
far? How's it going?
Great. Great. It's going well. Yeah. What about you?
Busy day. Had a couple meetings, had another lesson this morning, and then later
Nice.
today I have a lot of other stuff to do.
How is the platform going?
I've been actually doing a lot of meetings with potential teachers and training them on how to teach and that sort of stuff. So it's going pretty
Nice.
well, um, but I can't really tell yet. It's only been like 1 week since I
Mm.
really started working on this project,
Yeah.
and
That's cool.
yeah, I'll have to see. I mean, I'll wait a little bit longer to see how it turns out, but I plan on going to a hackathon in about
Mm.
a few weeks and presenting the idea. So maybe I can get it. I can find a development team to do it for me for free.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and also more exposure
Cool.
and all that stuff. Right now, though,
Yeah.
I have a GoFundMe page for the development. So I actually
Mm.
contacted a development team and they gave me like a rundown how much it'll cost and all that stuff. So
Right.
they're just standing
Okay.
by to see if I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay. That's nice. Well, I'm sure it can work.
Cool. All right. So this is our third meeting, and I'm gonna talk about digital entrepreneurship and getting more exposure online. But I'm kind of curious. You mentioned that you also do drop shipping, right?
Yeah, I do.
And what other kind of online businesses have you thought about doing?
Only drop shipping. Other than that, of course, I looked into Amazon, Amazon FBA, and these types of things, but it's mostly I chose to do it through Shopify,
Yeah.
which is a platform you probably know. So I feel like they thought about everything. I feel everything is fine. Like they even provide some trainings. So I'm mainly focusing on that. I did a lot of research on Amazon FBA, other dropshipping websites, and all, and I just arrived to this conclusion. For me, that's what I prefer. So I'm doing it right now, but it's going slowly because I'm also doing a lot of other stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but no, it's not too bad. I mean, everything is set up right now. It's just about learning Facebook, Instagram ads, and trying to get more exposure because the website is on. Like everything is good. The product research has been made. Like pretty much everything has been launched. It's just like we need more exposure. We haven't had enough, so that's the thing.
Cool. Well, that's good to hear that you want more exposure because that's kind of the idea here.
That's good.
What is the website called, by the
Yeah.
way?
Yeah, you can go check it out. It's called Uvoke. So
Why
yeah,
you?
no, YUVOKE.com
Uvoke.
should work. Yeah, Uvoke. It's mainly home appliance and stuff. So yeah, that's the website. So
Let's see
you
what you got here.
have, yeah, you can check it out. So right now it's paused, meaning anyone that wants to buy something cannot actually, because we paused it. So we paid a monthly fee, like we pay less of a monthly fee until we figure out the ads and everything. It's paused, but you can still look at it and everything. It's just that, let's say you want to buy something that you cannot.
All right, let's.
So we have wall art, tableware, ornaments. So
Whoa, this
yeah.
is a great price. I'm gonna buy this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really nice product. I like it. And you can choose the size, everything. And normally we have free shipping for, yeah, that's the thing. That's the problem because we paused it. Uh,
Have you been
yeah.
tracking how many users are visiting your site?
Yeah, but the thing is, we launched it like a month ago, and then we just exposed it to friends and family and asked them to share in their circle. So basically, there's nothing much going on. So that's why we need to understand more the SEO, how to bring traffic, like everything, like bring more people. I want
Mm-hmm.
to know. So sorry, I want to. I'm gonna grab water.
All right, no
I'm
worries.
gonna die. Okay, sorry about that.
All right, no worries. It's good to
Um,
yeah, it's good to have water
yeah,
nearby.
yeah, that's better if I don't die.
So yeah, you want to try to
Mm,
bring more traffic. So you sent it
yeah,
to like your friends and family and stuff, but
yeah.
if they share it right now, then you're not gonna get any customers because they can't finish the purchase, you know?
No, no, yeah, exactly. So the first month we've been launching it, it was open, so we had few orders actually. But then we were like, okay, we need to figure out this, and that. And then it was like, okay, let's just take a break. And there was a lot of other things going on, so that's why we chose to take a 2 months break on sales.
Yeah,
Because the monthly price is, I think it's $45 per month, plus the like a small commission fee on the sales you're making. But right now we're paying $15 a month. So for a break of like, okay, let's have a list of learning, we like thought it was better. But yeah, obviously, like if we're gonna start having exposure, we're gonna start doing it again. It's just a matter of a click. Like it's just like, okay, we're back on, and then we pay the due monthly fee, and that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, makes sense. So, um,
Mm.
you're thinking about doing like ads and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, mainly. Well, it's just I actually don't personally like ads because it annoys me,
Yeah,
even when I'm browsing on Facebook or Instagram. But at the same time, there are actually some products, not necessarily home appliance, but there are actually some products that I bought through ads that I wouldn't know about it if there was no ads, right? So that's another thing. But the other strategy that we're looking into right now is the, well, Instagram influencers. So for example, you find a small or big influencer, doesn't need to be like 1 million followers, but you just find someone who actually promotes one or few of your products. And that's actually how a lot of dropshipper work. So they do not need to pay for ads. But the thing is, you need to find an influencer that that is in your niche and the targeted audience that you're looking, etc. So it's also a research about that. and also about convincing them to, show your product and everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's another.
Do you have an Instagram
Yeah.
account set up for this site, for your products?
We do, but it's like we have, I think, 5 followers, so it's really bad. I mean, we set it up like, I don't know, 2 3 months ago, so it's a bit hard to have. Can you see it? Yeah,
This one?
yeah. You
Oh,
booked the cover.
you got 86 followers.
Yeah,
Nice. These are really nice pictures. Like
yes,
this is grade A content.
yeah, yeah. It's nice. No, and it's actual products that we're selling. Like it's not just cute pictures. Like we actually chose it from the products we're selling. Um, So yeah, no, that's what I told you. Like the most of the work is done. Then it's just like bringing people in. And also, yeah, 86 followers is okay, but in my head is like, man, I want like 5,000.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have a
yeah.
bit of, sometimes you want it to be perfect and all, and we want people to trust the brand as well. So yeah, it's good, but at the same time, you really want, yeah, a bit more. And we have a Facebook page as well, but I think it's just a link to it's the same as Instagram, right? So it's just
Yeah.
um it goes both ways. So yeah.
So you got some of the basics down. That's good. Good. That's really good.
Yeah, completely, yeah.
Cool. So let's just talk about some of the logistics of like um using like being a teacher, a freelance teacher online. So I want to get the logistics out of the way. I mean, I'm sure you're
Mm-hmm.
familiar with Google Calendar and how to use it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
So
use it. Yeah.
perfect. I mean, if you know how to use Google Calendar, then you're good. You're gonna be using Google Docs like I am here, Zoom, webcam, microphone, keyboard, all that stuff. I mentioned that before. But
Yeah.
what you need for yourself if you want to take clients to teach English to is you need a landing page.
Yes, true, true, true. Yeah.
So I can show you mine as an example.
Yeah,
And
what did
since
you mm.
since you already have experience making websites like this, then making a landing page
Mm-hmm.
should not be difficult at all. First,
Right.
you have to get a good domain. Like my domain is just my first and last name.
Mm.
And so
What where is it? Oh, okay, you use WordPress. Okay.
yeah, so I use WordPress. And here's my landing page. So I just put this big picture here, relevant to what I'm offering. And I just took like a
Mm.
stock image and put some text over it.
Right.
And then immediately from the beginning, I just say conversational English classes and then a call to action button.
Mm.
And then the next thing is paying for lessons. So after I find clients, obviously I need them to pay me, so that's the next most important thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I talk about, the lesson structure.
Yeah.
I have a testimonial. I have a video of me speaking. This is very important because then
Yeah, that's good.
potential
Yeah.
students can see how you sound and that sort of stuff. I have the
Yeah.
syllabus written out, requirements, and then a sample lesson. And yeah. So what a student would do when they land on my page is they're gonna probably look at this and be like, free 15-minute assessment. Let's see. And here I made a not a Google form, like a web page with a bunch of questions. Like, do you have budget for lessons, which is important. A bunch of
Mm.
questions related to their level of English, so I can better understand where they lie. And then like, why do you want to improve your English? Describe your current level of English. How often do you practice? And then I have some terms and conditions here. This is just in a Google Doc. I should probably put this
Mm.
in not in a Google Doc anyway. So there's terms and
Mm.
conditions, and then I have all these check boxes here.
Yeah.
So then after I have the 15-minute, 30-minute, whatever it is, assessment, on the call I tell my clients to go over here to navigate to this page and to pay. So I used Square
Mm.
to set up this online payment, and I
Right.
have three options: 1 hour, 5 hours, and 10. Obviously, the prices are cheaper as you go
Mm-hmm.
up in
Yeah.
quantity.
Right.
So that's essentially how my whole process works. And
Mm.
For you to make a landing page, I mean, you have some experience making sites, so you can literally just copy the
Mm.
outline I use on my landing page.
Mm.
The most important things I have to take into consideration are uh, the call to action button and like the payment and the like authority that you show.
Mm. Right.
Any questions on my landing page?
No, I think that's fine. Yeah, that's pretty clear.
Cool. So the whole purpose of the landing page is to convince some of your service, right? And to do that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you give them testimonials and show them how you're organized and you know what you're doing. And then next, after they're convinced, they're gonna try to check out, or they're gonna get that free 15-minute assessment. So you qualify your clients with that questionnaire. There's so before I added that questionnaire, I did some, I ran some ads and I got a lot of hits on my website. Also, a lot of people that were just
Mm.
like, you know, just like spamming me. They weren't really very interested, you know. And this questionnaire takes a little
Right.
bit of time to do, so I'm qualifying my students to make sure that they're committed.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
makes sense.
and after I qualify them, I get a response from them, like with all the answers. And I personally respond with the email because I get an email. And I say, okay, thank you for your responses. Let's schedule the first meeting. And that's where
Mm.
Calendly is very useful. Do you use Calendly?
I don't, but I mean, I used it, but not from the other side.
Yeah.
Meaning, like people who schedule with me. But I feel
Yes.
pretty intuitive.
It's yeah, and it's also super useful to have in in general. And you
Mm.
have to make sure that you sync it with your calendar. Like that's why it's very important to have your calendar completely up to date, and you accurately put events on there that show that you're busy or you're free. Like if you look at my calendar,
Right.
my day. So here's I don't know Friday the 25th. This is a Friday, so I'm not really too busy. All right, here's a Thursday. So I'm on different platforms, and
Mm.
I put an event here: Calendly, Hangouts, office hours, and it shows here that I'm free, right? But I just marked on there
Mm.
on my calendar so I know on a day-to-day basis exactly when a meeting might pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with these other platforms I'm on, Preply, italki, and then I have this private office hours here because that's my prime time and that's when I get most requests for lessons.
Mm.
For me, it's between 5 to 9 p.m.
Okay.
And so, the Calendly, I recommend doing like a 30-minute meeting. And I have this very short description. Link will be emailed 5 minutes before scheduled time. 30-minute.
Mm.
And you have to go through all the settings here. Events can be scheduled over 10 rolling days. That's important because then you can, you know, schedule a meeting ahead of time. But you don't want it to be too far ahead of time because people will forget about you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then time zone, make sure that's accurate, and try to make it so that
Yeah.
your invitees will see it in their time zone. And obviously,
Yeah.
here's the availability, advanced, max number of events per day, minimum scheduling notice 3 hours away. So if like I'm in town grocery shopping or something, I don't want to be like, oh crap, gotta go back to my to my desk.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then since I only have like the normal account, I can't really assign any premium features or anything like that. Then I have a question in there. What is this pertaining to or something like that? Let me see. Yeah, so what is this meeting in relation to? That's all I ask. Because I use this link
Mm.
for all sorts of meetings and it's good for me to understand how that works.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend you also make a Calendly account and
Mm-hmm.
keep the link handy. So what I do to keep the link handy is I have a Google Keep here and I have like a bunch of links here. My Zoom link,
Mm.
the link to that, and then my Calendly link. So if I ever have to easily send it to people, I can just copy paste, you know?
Right.
And I get requests for meetings from my other businesses as well, so it's useful to have it there. And
Yeah.
finally, you need to make the sale. So
Yeah.
after you get a client on your trial call, the ideal thing that you should do is to make them pay for your lessons on the call.
Mm.
Making a sale,
Mm.
this is probably one of the hardest aspects.
Yeah.
So do you have any questions on this section here?
Do you actually try to convince, like, let's say a potential client, do you actually try to convince, like, let's say I'm a potential client, we're having a call, and then you're trying to make the sale, right? But you feel I'm like maybe half interested. Like, what do you use actually to try to convince the person, or do you push or not too much, or what's your strategy about it?
So when someone is on the fence,
Yeah, like there's a doubt or whatever. Like you
so
feel like, okay, this person, I'm gonna make this out right now.
well, honestly, like it's up to you. Like if you think they need English lessons, then you should continue trying to convince them. If you think they don't, then don't do it.
Yeah, right, 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 right.
But
Yeah.
the best techniques that I do is the best question I ask them is like, how often do you practice speaking English? Or
Hmm.
not how often, because that's vague, but how many times per week do you practice speaking English? That's the number one question I ask because they're going to say something like, I don't know, once or twice or zero. And then you can respond and be like, well, that's why you have problems with your English.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be afraid
Makes
to
sense.
don't be afraid to dig deep into their pain points. Like
Yeah.
dig deep into their pain points.
Yeah.
So like why do you feel like you struggle with English? Or um, did something happen recently where you were, ashamed of your level of English,
Hmm.
right? Um, the thing is though, when you dig into their pain points, you have to also provide a solution, and the solution would be, the
Yeah.
English lessons.
Yeah.
Um,
Good.
were you gonna say something?
No, I think that's clear for that. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So this part is can like is a whole another kind of learning process as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's adaptation on like who you're talking to and all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so after you have a landing page, if you don't have a landing page, you might as well just stop there because a client
Yeah, I understand.
won't be able to schedule a meeting, won't be able to pay you, and so everything else you do
Mm-hmm.
after that is going to be pointless. The thing is though, you have to make
Yeah.
it as seamless as possible for them to give you money and to schedule a meeting. If there's any obstacles in the
Mm.
way, they might change their mind.
Yeah.
So everything I do in terms of marketing funnels into this landing page. So that's the next
Mm-hmm.
thing I'm going to talk about, social media marketing. So Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, Reddit, LinkedIn, whatever. Let me show you my Instagram as an example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you showed me quickly last time.
I did? Okay. So,
Yeah, quickly, quickly. Yeah.
so I kind of summarize again. So I really like Instagram because of the format, the structure, and the control you have over the user's screen. Like you control a bigger portion of the
Mm-hmm.
user's screen. And Instagram is great if you have other businesses because notice here in the description you can tag other accounts and you can put a
Mm, yeah.
website, you can put a link. So
Yeah.
this is the call to action right here. This is where your customer will go to um, purchase your service. So they're gonna be like, "Oh, you teach English? Let's see." And then boom,
Mm.
they get on your landing page, and the landing page should be doing the convincing, right?
Yeah.
But if someone wants to see what else you do, they can click on the link to your other accounts. And this is where it's good to link your other projects and your other stuff, because then a potential user or customer can just go over here and look and be like, oh wow, they do all these kind of things. Maybe
Mm.
I want to hire him to take some photos, or I want to see this thing or whatever.
Mm.
um, this is also something I really like. So this is like a one pager, and this is good if you're in person. If you're walking around, it's good to have a picture, like a one pager on your phone, and someone, you enter a conversation and people ask you like, "What do you do?" And you tell them, "Well, I teach English online." "Oh, really?" Pull up this picture and show them the picture. And if their phone is
Mm.
is good enough, some phones automatically scan the QR code when they open up the camera application. If not, then just tell them to take a
Mm.
picture. Essentially, this is your business card.
Mm. Right, right.
Um, yeah, so questions on Instagram.
No, I think that's great.
And then, of course, I also have a Facebook page.
Hmm. Yeah, which work uh,
So the reason why,
both ways.
yeah, the reason why I like Facebook, one of the things that Facebook does well is groups and events. Obviously, you're teaching online,
Yeah.
so events aren't really relevant, but groups are. And so I
Hmm.
made a Facebook group called Freelance Online English Teachers, which have you joined that group?
I don't think I did. Wait, let me look into it now.
What? You didn't join?
Oh my god.
How could you?
Gonna do it right now.
I'm gonna put it here in the Google Doc so you can find it.
Okay,
Yeah, this is
good,
a
good.
group I created. It has about 225 members. Um, I recently posted this English language video, but yeah, we talk about like the best method to for students to pay for lessons and stuff like that. I recommend for getting paid, the easiest way is to set up Stripe or Square, because credit cards are the
Mm-hmm.
easiest way to get paid. I also take PayPal and even Bitcoin.
Mm. Yeah, you told me last time. I hate PayPal though. I cannot deal with it. It's just
Yeah, it's a pain in the
I
butt.
had a lot of issues, but yeah, it's just too. But I know customers like it for a reason that I don't even understand. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So those are my two main channels of communication with my clients, Facebook and Instagram. I do also post on Reddit, and I browse different sorts of subreddits, communities, and I contribute, right? So the idea is to contribute in a meaningful way. Like provide
Yeah.
them like a solution, or entertain them with some content, or give your opinion or something. Don't just go around spamming stuff.
Mm.
Like for example, one of the things I did was I made a video on like the state of freelance online English teachers, and it's I don't know, I think it's 3 minutes long, but it's just me like talking to the camera, and I have notes here just like this, and I uploaded it on YouTube and then shared that link to these communities so that people can see like
Mm.
the status of what I'm doing.
Mm, that's good.
So, um, the number one thing I would recommend for you to do next is to make a landing page.
Yeah.
You definitely need a landing page. And if you haven't made a landing page before, it's not going to be too complicated. But, first time you do it might be a little tough. How do you feel about that?
Mm. No, I think it's pretty doable to be honest. I think it's great. Like within I don't know a week, 2 weeks, I can do it. Um, but I'm still working on Shopify and all. It's just about prioritizing
Of course.
things I need to do. But yeah, but I feel that that's not a difficult part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, a landing page, um, and all the stuff included, right? Like capturing emails, convincing him, and qualifying, like that questionnaire type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, it would also be good to make your own like Instagram account for teaching.
Yeah. But ideally, all of these freelance like ideally, you would bring them to work with your platform, right? Like that's the idea, or
Yeah, the idea
um,
is to the platform will be hosting the lessons, and
mm,
that's the idea, like to for teachers to be able to share lessons, but for teachers to
mm,
start creating lessons and for them to contribute, they need to be successful teachers.
right, right, right. Yeah,
And so
yeah, true.
that's why I'm spending time helping you understand like how I teach, how to use the material, and how to find clients.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
In my experience, paying for ads hasn't really brought me much much
Mm,
like it's just
yeah. Yeah, if you sell like goods online, maybe, but this type of service, I agree, like it because you need quality customers, like you're saying. So you don't want like anyone to just like randomly come and then yeah. I
yeah,
wouldn't pay for ads for services. Well, at least
yeah,
these ones. Yeah.
yeah, unless they're like premium services or something.
Yeah.
But in this case, they're not really premium.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, what kind of questions do you have now, if you have any?
I don't have actually. I'm just curious on how it's like your platform, everything will come up because I found it interesting. I think it's a nice thing, like a platform that offers a bit more freedom and that is focused more on the teachers than on from what I feel, more
Yeah,
focused on the quality of the teaching. Yeah,
yeah.
so I think it's nice.
The idea is to enable freelance teachers and to like to gauge their commitment based on the content that they produce, the content that that
Mm-hmm.
they create, and it's on them to determine like that determines their success because they're freelance English teachers.
Yeah.
So that means that we're not going to like do the payment processing. That's going to be on your end, and we're not going to put like any sort of barrier between the student and the teacher. Like anyone who goes on his site will be able to contact the content creators, right? You're gonna be able to send them a
Mm-hmm.
message
Yeah.
and get in touch. So the idea is like as a teachers create content, students are gonna be able to visit the site and see, well, this teacher created a lot of content. Maybe he's a good teacher.
Mm,
So they're gonna
yeah.
message him and get lessons with them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is to enable teachers to become content creators. Because I think when you start
Mm-hmm.
creating lessons, for at least in my experience, like that's when you really improve as a teacher. When you have to when you have to create something like that, that's when you like I've seen a lot of improvement in my teaching.
Mm.
Have you ever had to make like lessons before?
I did, but for just one student. Basically, I had a one student in Thailand. It was like my neighbor who was like, "Oh, I know someone. She really wants to learn English," and she was really a low level. She was 17 or 18. She was Korean, and she was like barely talking English. So it was actually easy to create content because it was like, okay, we're gonna start from where you are basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I was giving her homework. She was asking for homework, so I was giving her homework.
And this was all
And it
online?
was no, it wasn't. That's the thing. So it was completely different. It was one on one. She was coming to my home. It was 1 hour every 2 hours a week, like 1 hour. So 2 times a week, 1 hour. And it was actually interesting because I saw how she improved and how easy she improved. But it was really like bespoke sessions in a way. So,
Yeah.
and it was my creation, my content creation was focused on her only.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. I didn't try to do like, okay, how could I apply this content to more students? Because it was at that time I was having already another job, which was completely different,
Mm-hmm.
and this was more like of a. I was paid, but it was still more of a. Okay, I'm gonna do it because they ask for it, but I wasn't looking for teaching at that time. But it
Yeah.
was a nice experience because I saw results. I think mainly because I saw results that it was such a great experience because in 3 months, I think she was like, wow, okay, it's like she was able to have a conversation. So it was like, okay, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
She was putting heart into it, obviously, and it's the same. Like it's been a year I'm with VIP Kid. There's some kids that have been having since the start, and I still like I see they're improving, and it's actually amazing how they are improving. But I also feel like these are the ones that they actually put their heart into it. Like, yes, they are dedicated into the lesson, but they're also doing homework or whatever, like other
Mm-hmm.
stuff apart from the lesson. I think that's, yeah, I think that's the biggest, yeah, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's the thing though. You made content, you made a lesson for this one student, but you haven't been able to really repurpose that material. Like you spent time
yeah,
making it.
yeah.
And like I
Mm-hmm.
don't like wasting time making material that's not going to be useful in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I do
Yeah,
is like can be repurposed for future students
yeah,
and shared for other teachers to use.
yeah, yeah,
And
that makes sense.
yeah, so um oh man, I was gonna say something and then it's just like
Both.
I guess it's one of those days.
Yeah, sometimes.
So I wrote a few questions here, but you already kind of answered them, like interested in growing your online presence. How do you feel about that? Like growing your online presence? Like have you ever done that before? And do you feel like you have any privacy issues with that?
I do actually, yeah. That's something I start to think about when I start doing that dropshipping thing because I had this whole idea. Okay, do I put a face on it or do I just keep it like as it is right now? Do some website there have like more of a personal. This is different because it's goods that we're selling, so it's different, but still. I never, I would say a year ago, I was like not into social media at all. And now I'm starting to understand like how essential it is basically when you're freelance or when you're running a business or anything.
Yeah.
But it's something I need to put my head into. Like it's really, and I do have some issues of like you're putting yourself out there in a way, even if it's online, it's still you're actually putting yourself up front, and it's like, yeah, I do have some issues I need to work on in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I'm really not a shy person in real life, but for some reason online it's different. It's like even my Instagram, if you look at it, there's no picture of myself. Like there's none. There's no selfie. Like there is just none.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how I've been running it. Like,
So let me kind of show you
yeah,
my philosophy towards like social media. So like I made a different social media account for each project I'm working on because it's important to
mm,
differentiate that sort of stuff.
yeah, right,
And on my personal account, I I I only put pictures of myself that other people took with a professional camera. That's just like I don't
mm,
have time to continue posting stuff, and I'd like to post on stories instead. So if I ever
yeah,
uploaded something on my personal account, it's just gonna be a picture of myself taken by somebody else, and then maybe I'll post some pretty pictures. But I don't post
yeah,
selfies or anything like that
yeah,
because why do you need that? You're just like what, a ego boost or what?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing.
It, but that's just my
Mm,
approach. Everyone has a different one, you know.
yeah.
Um,
What is your gamer account? I just saw now you have a gamer account.
so I also
It's
have a
online games or
no, they're board games.
do you play Avalon?
Yeah, actually.
Do you know Avalon?
So here,
I
this channel, this
love
account, it's
this
also a
game.
YouTube channel. It summarizes board games in 30 seconds.
Oh, that's so
I
cool.
don't have Avalon, but I have the Resistance,
Okay, okay,
which
yeah.
is like the same thing.
Catan, I think Catan is the best.
Yeah, I have Catan in several languages. Like this one is in
Um,
Portuguese.
wow.
This one is in Finnish. It's the one game I decided to do in different languages, Italian, and each video has someone else doing the voiceover.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I did this for a
But
while.
Avalon is like okay. You're not doing it anymore.
No, no, my
Mm.
last video I made was posted like a year ago. It just took up too much
No.
time and I didn't get much out of it. But it was a very interesting project I did for a while and I got quite a good number of followers, I guess.
Mm. Do you have like board games cafe in your in the town you're living or?
I
No.
wish. So I came I
Uh,
I came to this city because I thought it was a good city to start a board game cafe. After spending some time here for a while, I determined that it wasn't, just because people here in the city don't have enough disposable income.
right.
So I had to switch
I
my
see.
approach. Yeah. I came here to kind of pursue the entrepreneurship journey, and
I
I
see.
and eventually maybe I'll do the board game cafe, but right now I needed something more short term, so I started with the Airbnb. Um,
Okay. Okay.
I rented
Yeah.
out a big apartment with 4 bedrooms, and I host it on Airbnb. So that's
Right.
my main source of consistent income.
Income.
And I have it here on Instagram
Mm.
as well. I made an Instagram account for it too. And I called it
Okay.
Transylvanian
Nice.
Co-Living. And I market
Oh,
towards
nice.
digital nomads,
Yeah.
right?
Right. 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 But about that, like I wanted to do Airbnb because I did Airbnb in Montreal when I was living in Canada. But about that, here in Sri Lanka itself, it's really difficult because landlords they actually don't accept you to have like I would need to buy a house or an apartment in order to host. So even let's say I take a 1 year contract and I do it, they don't normally like it's in the agreement itself and it's like a Sri Lankan law. It's a bit
Yeah.
annoying for that. Like it's not
It can be
possible to
tricky,
do it.
yeah. It can be tricky in some countries, in some cities they have regulation and but
Yeah.
what I did to make sure I don't have those problems, I mean, I met with the owners and I told them straight up, listen, this is what I'm trying to do because
Mm.
I won't be able to pay for this and no. Like my idea is to have the host place
Mhm.
paid for by being an Airbnb host. And so I had to talk to
Yeah,
a few
yeah.
owners until I found one that was suitable. So it does take a little bit of time.
Right.
And you have to understand like you do have to understand some real estate and you have to get good at hospitality. So
Yes. Yeah.
it exercises a lot
Yeah.
of things, but it's really good for me and probably for you too if you work online all the time because if you work from home, I I like when I worked from home before I did this Airbnb, I felt super isolated because I didn't have like real human
Mm.
interaction. And so
Yeah, completely.
it's not healthy. That's not healthy, right?
Yeah, yeah, completely. Yeah, it's so easy to just be on your own, and yeah.
Yeah, so like for a digital entrepreneur, an Airbnb in the way that I'm doing it is not just valuable because it reduces my cost of living, but it also exposes me to a variety of people, and usually they're good quality
Mhm.
people. They're not, a bunch of weirdos.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. For some reason, Airbnb always attracts good people. Like when I was doing it in Montreal, I was actually like always surprised. Like it's always nice people. I mean, obviously, there's also bad
Yeah.
experience, I guess, that people are having, but I never had any bad experience.
I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
because like the Airbnb rating system works really well. Do you ever watch
Yeah,
Black Mirror?
yeah. I watched a bit, but not all of
Well,
them.
there's an
But
episode where
yeah.
they rate each other or something. And I swear, I think
Okay.
Airbnb is like the closest that we have in today's society to that episode where you're rating people.
Makes sense. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, because essentially you're rating
My
people. Yeah.
uh, yeah, the issue for me on Airbnb is not only Sri Lanka, but it's also because I'm moving. Like next, I'm going to Vietnam, and then I'm going back to Bali. Like I could do it in Bali, but it's always a certain amount of time. About like mainly because of the visa.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I know
mean,
some people that are going like on a visa on and on, but ugh, anyway.
yeah, the idea is you kind of like establish like a headquarters or something because it does take time to set up and then once you do have it set up, you gotta have like connections to that place. Like the reason I did it here in Romania is because I have a Romanian background. Like I have Romanian citizenship, so for me it's not a problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, it's easier
I'm
in that
really
sense.
I'm lucky in that way, but maybe you can find another place in a city that's suitable. And well,
Yeah.
like what I can do now, like I can rent out the whole place and I could just go and live somewhere else for a while, which is what I do when there's a big
Mm-hmm.
festival in town and the rates are through the roof. I take a vacation
Mm-hmm.
and rent out my room too.
Yeah, that's good. Mm.
So what do you think are some of the biggest
Oh,
problems you think you're gonna face as like a digital entrepreneur?
uh, I think it's all about steps. So I don't see that much like. I feel like if I do it step by step, it's okay. Like for example, right now it's like online presence. It's like okay, putting myself out there. When once I reach that step, then there's gonna be something else coming up, and I feel that's my way to deal with things is that I take chunk by chunks. Otherwise, I just get overwhelmed with everything that has to be done. So,
Yeah,
but I think if I need to name one, I think the biggest is what I would say not only exposure, but also everything that has to do with. I'm actually a bit picky on graphic design and how beautiful a thing looks. So for me, in order to put a beautiful website out there, I can go a bit crazy on it, and that's actually an issue. I mean, it's a good thing because I'm putting efforts into it, but it can also be an issue because then you're just putting so much time into small details, and then you end up not doing it. So that's the thing that
yeah.
I need to
So
work on.
that's something I used to be like as well, especially with my photography and stuff like that. But to be honest,
Yeah, you're doing. Yeah.
what you need to do is just put it out there because if you put it
Yes,
out there, you're going to figure out what you need to improve on, and
that's true.
when you realize these things quickly, then the next time you do it, you're less likely to make the same mistake, and the rate of improvement is
Yeah,
significantly higher. So don't try to perfect it. Like leave a little bit of
yeah,
room for improvement because that's where you can identify where you need to improve the most and where you need to put your time towards
yeah,
improving. And
yeah. It makes sense.
even this whole thing that I'm trying to do with lesson speak is a work in progress. Like I'm not trying to hide that. So if I
Yeah, of course. No, it's not. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, I put the Angelus link that you sent me. I put it on VIP Kid group. I don't know if they will contact you or not, but it's out there. I put it like I introduced like just quickly and
Nice.
yeah.
Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Mm.
Let's see if I
Yeah,
got
no
any.
problem.
So I have a lot of people, two candidates, 20 people visiting.
Really? Hmm.
Wow, four candidates. Oh boy. All right. So here's how I can, I guess, help you in the future. So, um, what you need to do before, before I can even help you in the future would be to make a landing page, like to get the domain
Hmm.
and start working on the landing page and that sort of stuff. Make an Instagram account for teaching, Facebook account, that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and I've actually expanded the services that I offer. I want to actually move away from teaching English. I want to specialize in
Mm.
teaching something else. The reason I teach English is because it's just like a means to an end. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
I'm like the best English teacher. My grammar is not the best,
Okay.
but it's good enough to
Okay.
teach. That's for sure. So what I've been
Mm.
moving towards is more like consulting or mentoring.
Mm. Right.
So so the reason
And
I
you would like to mentor like freelancers, or what angle you would take actually?
yeah, entrepreneurs. That's my
Mm.
target niche. So I showed you this page where I have English lessons, but I also offer digital entrepreneur consulting. So this is where
Mm.
I would pretty much take you from 0 to 100 in terms of finding or establishing the process for getting a client.
All right.
And then mentorship services, this is like a regular weekly type of mentoring thing where you can get like a direct line of communication and if you want feedback immediately and that sort of stuff, this is good for that. So this is more like a long-term solution and this is more like a short-term contract type of solution.
Right. Did you take like any type of course in entrepreneurship or business or anything in order to go towards that direction, or
Kind of.
just yeah, okay,
Well,
or it's more like personal experience?
it's kind of both. So, in college, I got two majors. I got supply chain management and computer information systems. Computer information systems is focused on IT business, so I learned how to code
Mm.
and all that IT stuff. But I also did a certificate in entrepreneurship, and to be honest, that was probably the most valuable thing I
Mm.
did. The most valuable class I took was that
Mm.
entrepreneurship certification because it's about having the right mindset. There's like the employee
Right.
mindset, and then there's the entrepreneur mindset. When
Mm,
you
yeah,
and
completely.
you have to you have to look at it from a very different perspective. An entrepreneur can't be thinking like an employee because
Mm.
that won't work. You
Yeah,
gotta
that's true.
you gotta look at it from the entrepreneur perspective. And there's like it helped me realize that there's certain fields where you need to have that perspective, like sales,
Mhm.
real estate. Um, I don't know what else off the top of my head, but sales and real estate are probably the top two I would say, because you have to have that entrepreneurship mindset.
Yeah, true.
And then yeah, over
Yeah.
time, the last 2, 3 years since I started trying to work on this project, I've been practicing and honing my skills and that sort of stuff. But to be honest, like even though I'm offering mentoring services, I'm also looking for a mentor that has more experience than I do in doing this type of stuff.
Mm, yeah.
Because if I find a
Yeah.
mentor, then I can offer my knowledge, I can pass it down to my mentees and that sort of stuff.
Hmm. I'm looking right now at some like online courses with what's the name again? Let me check.
Udemy, Coursera.
No, EDX. It's like they have some. You can basically have like a Harvard certificate, but you pay only like let's say $200 for it. So they have free courses. Yeah, that's exactly this one. They have free courses. They have not free courses, and there's so many things out there. So yeah, you have business management. So right now I'm following Agile and Scrum certification. I would suggest in any of these, don't take introduction because I feel I took introduction to project management and it was like too basic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even for someone who doesn't have a background, it's too basic. It's too much of a. It's like they're teaching common sense basically. So I was a bit disappointed with that. But if you look at more advanced classes, even if it seems too advanced, I would actually say to follow it because you'll learn anyway.
To be honest, I'm not looking
But
for
it's
courses at this point. I'm looking for a mentor because a mentor is
yeah,
going to be able to identify exactly what you need to improve on. And a course is very
true, true,
general, and
true.
by the time you find exactly what you need to improve on, you probably won't even know where to apply it and what you need to do, like how you
Mm.
need to pivot, what you need to do to change your approach. And someone with experience is going to be able to look at you and give you like a personalized solution.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
And
makes sense.
I don't have time to go through all these courses.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's more if you want an intro of something. So, but obviously, if you want, like, if you know what you need and like you're going through, but
To be honest,
it's hard. I feel to find a mentor. I mean, you
I
need to
know.
find the right person, right?
Exactly, it is hard. I've
Yeah,
been That's why I'm
yeah.
offering these kind of services, my mentoring services. I mean, I'm not the most experienced digital entrepreneur, but I do have some experience and I do have some success. So that's why. But I want
Hmm.
to get the knowledge and information from someone else that has this kind of knowledge and
Yeah,
experience. Someone with more knowledge and
yeah.
experience. Um, but
Mm.
yeah, I kind of have like I don't really believe in going back to school at this time because I'm trying to put into
Yeah.
practice what I learned in school right now. And if I go back, I feel like
Hmm.
I'll be going back to just learning theory and
Yeah, completely.
you got to take action and you got to like especially in entrepreneurship, you have to fail constantly.
Yeah,
Like
true, true.
like I showed you
Yeah.
that page where I made that 30-second board game type of stuff, and I thought it's going to like
Hmm.
blow up, or I didn't think it was going to blow up, but I thought it was going to be worthwhile. But after I put so much time and effort into it, it just kind of
Mm, yeah.
I had to pivot.
Yeah, and you learned from that anyway, so that's all right. I mean,
Exactly. But the problem is,
yeah,
like, you know, as an entrepreneur, you still have to make money. Like, nobody lives for free. So you have to figure out a way
yeah,
to lower your cost of living, or, you know, do what you're doing with limited resources. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to make a startup with limited resources. Like, if I had a bunch of money, I would just pay those developers. I would have a platform,
yeah,
and everything would be fine and dandy,
yeah,
right?
yeah, true.
But instead, what I'm doing is trying to get more exposure, training teachers, helping others, and encouraging people to start contributing content. Because right now, there's not any urgency for me to make the platform until another teacher starts creating lessons. When another teacher starts creating
Right.
lessons, then boom, I'm gonna hop on it and I'm gonna make that platform happen as soon as possible. But until then,
Hmm.
I have like the basic things done on my end. But
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, make that landing page, make that Instagram account, and then
Yeah.
send it to me. I want to see how it looks, and I'll give you some feedback.
Cool. Yeah, sure. It might take a while, but sure. I'll do it. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Cool, cool, cool. Any last burning questions? We have a few minutes left.
And I think from my end, it's okay. Yeah,
Cool.
that's fine.
I sent you the code to download my lessons, right?
Yeah, I did it. I downloaded it actually.
Did everything work fine?
I had some issues first, but that's because of my internet. It's raining here. Like anyway, I have some issues with internet, even my hotspot. But then yeah, I was able to access it,
Okay,
and
because I
I
had
still
someone
have anyway.
else. Sorry,
I
you were
have this
saying?
zip actually.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so you'll have to unzip it, but I updated it.
Yeah, yeah, but it's just about opening the zip and stuff.
Yeah, you have to open the zip file, but I also updated
Yeah.
the whole process. So now if you go to purchase a lesson, there's also a link to a Google album where you can just download the images. The zip file contains the whole thing, like the PowerPoint
Oh,
file
okay.
and everything. But that way you can avoid using
Okay.
a zip file because some computers have antivirus software and they identify zip files
Yeah.
as harmful and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay, let me check into that new link then. Yeah,
Yeah, so all the files should
I'll
be
check it
updated. I
out.
spent like all day fixing that.
Oh, okay. I'm not really into photography. I mean, I like photography, but I'm not a good photographer. But I believe that maybe I can, without necessarily creating content, I can maybe, I don't know, adapt to the photos or try to create content from these photos or
You don't need
I
to
don't know,
use,
because the
yeah.
structure, yeah, the structure I use for my classes with that girl in Thailand, I still remember it. I mean, it was more about structure than content itself. So, but anyway, I can look into it and check
Yeah, so don't worry
what I
about
can do.
using only those pictures. I think I might have mentioned it, but you can use any pictures. It's just
Yeah,
those are just
yeah,
my pictures and it would be nice to use them. But
yeah,
they don't
yeah. I understand.
I don't have pictures for everything, so I just go on like free stock images online and use those as well.
Yeah, yeah. This works well.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right then. Well, thank you for your time and
Yeah.
I
Thanks for
can't
your
wait to
time.
see your landing
Yeah.
page. Let me know when you do it.
Yes. Sure. Yeah. Thanks a lot. And yeah, keep me updated about everything, like your platform and all.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely will. I have your email, so we'll keep in touch.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Johnny.
All right. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye.